Yeah, so I'm Courtney Nielsen. Welcome. I have been an agent since 2012, and my husband and I work together. I used to be a teacher before I got into real estate, and so hence the reason why I always sign up for these. That teacher bug is alive and well. Anyway, so since 2016, I've been full-time in real estate, and yeah, we we do a lot. We own the Indy branch in Eagle Mountain, though currently we're looking for new space, so we're officing here in Westfield for a bit till we get that figured out. But today we're going to talk about social media and how important that is to your business. The other day I was at the training with Kimber Walton. I can't remember what the name of it was. I think it was like customer experience or something like that. And she brought up branding, and someone asked a question, and I was like, oh my gosh, we need to talk about branding as part of our social media, capturing leads with social media, because I think it's really important for us to discuss. So just a few things. This is a quote from Jim Stengel, and it says, businesses are now only as strong as their brands, and nothing else offers business leaders so much potential leverage. So when you think about your business, when people get into real estate, a lot of times they don't realize, oh, I'm starting a business, right? I am not only starting a business, but I'm starting a sales and marketing business. And sales and marketing, and any business really, we have to think about our brand. And the brand is you're the brand. But how do you want to paint that picture? And a lot of times people think, oh, that's my colors, my fonts, that's my logo. Yes, those are parts of your brand, but that isn't the only part of your brand. There's so much more to branding than just colors and logos and fonts. So the brand, if you think of any top brands, like when you see a swoosh sign, right? And what does that make you think? Like when you think of Nike, the swoosh, right? What comes to mind about Nike, the brand? Like the characteristics, what do they embody? What does Nike embody? Okay, what else?
I think of
Like what about like what's the characteristics of Nike? Like what do they represent in terms of like deeper core values? What do they represent? Okay, yeah. I mean, just do it, right? Just do it. Okay, they're gonna go out and do it. There was this one video. I feel like they're more than the athlete though. It's like empowerment, right? And it's like for the male athletes and the women athletes, just anyone actually who wants to be an athlete. And actually not even just athletes, it's everyday people, you and me. I think originally maybe it started with the athlete in mind, was kind of evolved into they're not like there's an athlete in all of us, right? So think about these things. Your brand helps people trust you, choose you, and interact with you. Brand recognition gets you seen. So your brand identity, it engages some kind of emotion. Your brand must align. It must be cohesive. You must have some promises that you're going to hold and offer to your clients. There should be benefits to using you. Visuals, obviously, the logos and things like that, and the colors are part of it. Your voice, what's your voice? What do you personally advocate? People work with you because for three reasons. They know, like, and trust. Okay. So your brand is all about helping people, helping to build all these three things: know you, like you, and trust you. And so social media is a impactful way where you can help people get to know you, like you, and trust you. Hi, welcome. Oh, and I didn't get everybody's names. I'm Courtney again. Tell me your name. Cami, and D'Angelo, yes. I'm like, I've met you. Cami, D'Angelo, and what? Fernando, welcome. So before we dive into the whole bit on social media, we're just talking a little bit about branding. And I really want you to consider, because it's part of your social media strategy, right? You got to consider, what do I want to portray? Who do I want to be online? What, as an agent, what do I want to present there? And so as we're considering, social media is one of the tools that we can use to help people know us, like us, and trust us. Let's see. Let me see if I'm. Okay, another thing for you to consider about your brand is, what is your why? Right? Simon Sinek talks a lot about your why. So what is your why? And you don't have to answer that right now, but write that down on your paper. What is my why? Why did I get into real estate? And this is beyond, oh, I want to have a new career, right? Like the deep core reasons why you want to be in real estate. And maybe you're not sure about that yet. Maybe that's something you need to explore and decide, well, what is it about real estate that draws me to the industry? What is my why? And usually it's so much deeper than just real estate in general, right? It's like, for me, my why is I want to create an abundant lifestyle for my family. I want to have long-term wealth, generational wealth for my family. And real estate is a tool that can help me do that. Okay. How to get people to fall in love with your brand? Okay. So the way you communicate, so communication, and we're going to say words matter, right? Words matter. So carefully choosing the words that you're using in your posts is important. Active voice, strong voice. And you want to try to think of like high vibrational words that will, like, if you don't know high vibrational words, like look that up. Like love is a very high vibrational word. Home is a high vibrational word. Hate is low vibrational, right? Like we don't want to create that energy like way down here. We want to like think about the high vibrational where we're attracting the right type of people who we want to work with. So what does that look like to you? So words matter. Be vibrant and clear. So I think along the lines of, if you're thinking of colors, I mean, this is a loaded thing. This could be in terms of your communication, right? Clear, concise communication, but it can also go to your colors. It can go to your fonts. Everything needs to be, streamlined so that there's consistency, right? If you go onto Instagram and you start, it's not all about aesthetic anymore, right, on Instagram, but still it is something that you should consider. So what's the aesthetic? What's the color? What's the fonts that you're going to consistently use within your marketing? Think of your taglines. All right. So Nike's tagline was "Just do it." What's your tagline? If you want to have a tagline, something to consider. What is your mission statement? And I know it's like mission statement, but yeah, we're creating businesses, right? You need a vision. What's your vision? What's your mission for you and your business? You also want to consider, and we're going to talk more about this, but the hashtags that you use, there's something that's called hashtag banks. So it's a good idea to have a bunch of hashtag banks that you can just like copy and paste. So a good way to look at the hashtag banks is you kind of want a mix of some hashtags that are going to draw a really large audience to, and then narrow that down to hashtags that are going to draw a more localized, I guess, audience, right? So think about that. You want to be clear on who you are, right? All of this right now, right? All of these things are ways in which we are demonstrating our value, right? So you want to be clear on who you are. Who are you as an agent? Who are you as a person too? I mean, I think when we go back to that idea of know, like, and trust, right? People want to know who you are. They want to know what you stand for. They want to know what business person you are, what kind of agent you are. And all of that, hopefully the things that, and the way that you are authentically, people are attracted to authenticity. So we don't want to create like this fake persona, right? Like the real you that you're putting out there. Hopefully all the things that you're putting out there is helping people to like you. And if they like you, they're going to want to do business with you, right? We attract, there's so much business out there. There's so many people out there that there is enough business for all of us, right? You do not need that many people in your network or that many sales to have a very luxe life in real estate. It is an incredible industry to be in. So there's enough business for you. There's enough business for you and me, for us all to have the lifestyles that we want. And I think if we have that abundant mentality always and recognize and realize that there's enough for all of us, because there's people who are attracted to me. There's people who are attracted to D'Angelo. They're gonna work with him no matter what. There's nothing I can do to persuade somebody to come work with me if they already know, like, and trust D'Angelo. And there's some kind of, you know, like we were talking about the high vibration words, right? There's something about your energy that attracts somebody else. And we can't break that because it is what it is. And truly, I mean, literally, you guys, I mean, what, how many sales do you need to make $100,000 a year? Not that many. So, I guess it depends on how what price point we're in. But okay, average sales 500,000. What is that? And the average commission on that, say 3%, 15,000. 5, 6, right? Not very many. Now, granted, if you have splits and things, because we're new agents in training, maybe you have to do 10 or 11. But
net, so to get a net 100K income is
if you're on a split, yeah. If you're not on a split, it's half that. But it will take you a lot longer to get there than if you start with the splits. Like, trust me, like I wish when I had gotten into real estate, I wish I would have started on a team or in some kind of like the productivity type coaching that you guys have. I wish I would have done that because it would have fast tracked me to making money on my own faster. So there is something about teaming up and getting that coaching from people where like it took me actually, I got my license in 2012 and I actually didn't sell any real estate that year. I was a school teacher and I had just finished the school year and I'm like, I literally laid in bed for an entire week after school. And I taught high school, which I love high school kids, like the best. I can't even imagine trying to teach an elementary age child. So I do love the teenagers, but I was so tired and I just like laid in bed. My husband, Ben, if you don't know Ben, he's around here too. He would come in every day and he's like, are you okay? Like, are you getting up today? And I'm like, nope. I'm gonna lay here. I think I got up to maybe eat and go to the bathroom, and that was it. Uh, and I think I like read a book all week. I don't know what I did, slept, whatever I wanted to do, I did it for a week. And then okay, after a week, I was like, all right, I feel better. I'm refreshed. You know, it's time to like go for it. And I was like, I am gonna kill it this summer. It was the summer of 2012 when real estate was not great. It was probably about as great as it is right now, or worse. um, okay, real estate actually can be really, for some people, real estate is really great right now, but it was a tough time to get started, right? It's a tough time to get started right now with rates where they're at. So give yourself a break if it's taking you a little bit longer to like, you know, get over that hump because it's tough times. And it takes a minute like every business. Remember, when we get into business, usually when people have a business plan, they have some capital that they put in. They realize in their business plan, they're probably not going to be profitable for a couple of years, right? But there's this vision, this plan. So think of that with your business. Like this is a business and you got to have a plan. And you also have to know, I do have to put in a little bit of capital. I have to put in some sweat equity. And eventually the returns will be huge if I can dig deep and keep going, right? And keep doing the daily things that matter that will help you get your businesses to where you need to be. So anyway, one of my neighbors contacted me and they're like, hey, Courtney, we want you to list your house. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm saved. Because I did not want to go back to school in the fall. So I listed the house. I think we actually had it under contract. We did. We got a couple offers. We had it under contract. And then my sellers came and said, never mind. We don't want to sell our house. We just want to wait. So we had to cancel everything. I took down all the signs, took down all the thing. And that was near the end of the school year. I put my license on inactive status and I went back to school. And it wasn't till another year in the fall of 2013 that one of my teacher friends at school, she said, hey, Court, you're a real estate agent, right? And I was like, yeah. She's like, I think I had already put my license back active, but I didn't have a key. I had none of that. And back in those days, in the old days, we had to go down to the Board of Realtors and we had to pick up an actual little like a controller, and it would open the key boxes. And it wasn't an app on your phone. I can't remember when the apps came in, but it's been a while, but not that long ago. So she calls me up and she's like, there's this house I want to see, but I don't want to call any other agents because I don't want them to pressure me into buying, and I don't even know if I'm going to buy. I was like, okay, sure. And this is like on a Monday or Tuesday. And she's like, will you, can we look at it this week? Yes, let's do it on Friday. Gave me enough time to get everything activated, get my key, and we went and we saw houses on Friday. We eventually got her under contract. I eventually listed her house, and then I listed my sister-in-law's house, and then I helped them find land, and it just started dominoing from there. And that's how my real estate business got started. So all thanks to Mickey. She's the one who I don't know, raised me from the dead and was like, no, Courtney, like we can do this, you know? But so now though, since then, as I first got it, I feel like it was like very serendipitous that things started happening for me. But eventually, I really had to stop and consider when I left teaching, how do I make this business consistent? How do I do that? Well, I have to create a brand. I have to, and at that time, I did started utilizing social media. I've been active on social media. I will say I never really truly had a plan until this last year when I was like, okay, we're going to kick things into high gear now. I went through a lot of training with marketing, paid, I don't know, a lot of money to learn. And then, but social media has always been a part of my business. So Be clear on who you are. Be the hardest working person in the room. Granted, it's not always, sometimes being the hardest isn't going to guarantee success, right? Because there's a lot of things that go into, but you want to be the hardest working person in the room. And I truly believe that I mean, those of us who are some of the top producing agents in the office really do. I mean, we work every day hard. Even like Susie Clyde, she was the #1 solo agent last year. And when she got started into real estate, she had recently gotten like a surgery. She's walking around on crutches, knocking on doors. Okay? Be like Susie. Don't let a ripped ligament prevent you from getting out and doing, I mean, obviously if you need to heal, whatever, but like, I'm serious, like what? You're on crutches and you're knocking doors. Okay.
Want to say, talk to her if they felt bad.
Maybe, I don't know. But she is one of the hardest working people in the room. So be that person. That's part of this. Be clear on who you are. Don't forget where you came from. Okay, I think we talked about, I don't remember, maybe we're going to talk about it in this, but part of your social media strategy is telling your story, right? Or did we do it in another one? I don't remember. Is telling your story. Where did you come from? How did you tell your hero's journey, right? When at the beginning of like, we are the hero who has gone on the journey, and we've, gone up and down and up and down. We've gone through all of these obstacles and hurdles to get us to where we are today. And we can share that story. That's how people like us, because it's something that they connect with. So try to think in your life, okay, what are like 3 really good stories about me that I could on repeat tell in a new way often, on my socials. Where did I come from? Where and how did I get here? What's my why? Those are great things. Like some like common stories are like the rags to riches story. I don't know, just any kind of obstacle in your life that you've overcome is a great thing to share. Something that's positive, uplifting, that people can relate to, right? So think about that. And okay, moving on. When you're putting together your brand, when you're putting together your brand architecture, like we're building this brand, right? We're designing our brand. We want to plan for longevity. And when we think about that in real estate is not a get rich quick scheme. It is a long-term business strategy. We're in it for the long game, right? A lot of times, like people who are in my sphere or in my network, or people who I'm meeting for the first time, some have never met, right? It might take a year, 18 months, I don't know, 5 years before somebody decides to actually sell their house or buy a house, right? So we in our minds need to think, okay, if it's not today or next month or next year or 5 years, whenever you're ready, I'm your gal or I'm your guy, right? So that's like that message that we need to keep out. And I think that helps with your sphere or the people that you're interacting with. Know that you're not like desperate, right? Like we don't want to put off that vibe, that greasy salesman type vibe. Yes, we're in sales, but we don't have to be like that. We can have really authentic, high vibrational energy with our clients when we create that, the idea that, hey, it's okay. Like you can come and ask me a question. I'm not going to high pressure you to get it. When you're ready, and I'll be here to help you. Okay. So plan for longevity, and that brand will help you plan for that longevity. Okay. You want to try to be innovative, not lazy. And what we mean by that is yes, you can go to the socials and you can watch, people who are pretty popular, and you can you can take ideas from that. That's absolutely okay to do. But you also need, okay, how can I take that idea and how can I put a twist on it so that it's authentic to me, right? So that's great. Every piece of your brand is important. Okay, let's see. Oh, talking about that hero's journey, you know, how I'm the hero at first, but now I'm no longer the hero. Now my client's the hero. Now I've gone on my journey. I'm now over here. Now I'm going to be the mentor. I'm going to be the Gandalf. That's what I am like for you in this moment, right? Like I'm not the hero anymore. You're the hero. Let's help you on your hero's journey. You're going to go through all these learning curves to where you can get to the point where you can coach, right? Or where you can say, I've done this before. Let me help you, client. I've sold, I don't know, 400 homes plus. I've done it so many times. I know the secret sauce to help your experience be the best experience possible, right? And it's their journey finding their house. When we can take us out of that and put the client as the hero, then things change for the better. There's, well, you can go back to like the real OG on Hero's Journey is Joseph Campbell. He wrote the book on it. But Donald Miller, he kind of took the hero's journey and like applied it to sales. And so there is a podcast, I think it's called Story Brand. And then there's a book, Story Brand Audio, and his name's Donald Miller. So if you want to like learn more about that, it's kind of a cool thing to do. I also want to, let's talk about our, oh my gosh, I'm losing the word. I have it written on a card upstairs in my office. Yes. Yeah, so, well, for me, what I have done is like in my system of helping I just like go in with like, hey, this is what we're gonna do. Like I'm confident. I'm like as the coach involved, you know, I'm like I put myself as a coach in the thing in their story of helping them like sell their home. Like this is the plan. I come in with a plan for them, and I think that helps them get their confidence. And I also let them know, hey, along this journey of selling your home, we're gonna have this, and we're gonna have this, and we're gonna have this. Like these are some unexpected, like one analogy for selling a home is like an airplane ride. In that, you know, we sometimes takeoff isn't so easy, but or sometimes it's really easy, but we get into the air. Oftentimes there's turbulence, you know, and we get through the turbulence, and then might be some more turbulence, and then we get through that. And then it might even be a bumpy landing sometimes, but we usually land. And things are going to be okay at the end. So creating those expectations of what some of those turbulence or bumpy rides might be along the way is how I put myself not as them. Like it's not about me. It's not about me, like at all. I don't know how to explain that. Like I try not to make it about me. I try to make it about them. Even when you're showing homes as a buyer's agent, like it's not about me. It's not about what house I like or what house I think they should buy, right? It's about their journey, their home, their likes, their wants, everything about them. And I try to like take myself out of the picture as that part of the journey. But I'm going to like offer them little bits of advice and, you know, expert opinions, you know, expertise as we go along. Hey, like, especially, yeah, I don't know. Does that help? I don't know. I would feel like I need to like go through my whole thing to really fully, but really just try to take yourself out and put them as the main character of the show. And yes, it's okay to say every once in a while, well, you know, add to your trust in the trust aspect, your credibility aspect of it. Oh, you know, I think it's just in the way that you do it. Like, you don't want to be like braggy, right? About things that you've done, but hey, this is what's worked before. This is another time that this similar thing has happened. So then you're like coaching them through it. But I'm not going to say, well, I am so amazing, I did this for my clients, you know, but I like show does that make sense? I don't know. That was really hard. Okay, so now we have to talk about, okay, what types of social media is out there that you want to be part of your plan? You know, where do you want to be on social media? So let's just throw out a bunch of them. Like for me, the number one place where I'm active is Instagram, and Facebook. And then from there, my husband, he's really active on LinkedIn. What are some others? Pinterest. Oh yeah, YouTube, Twitter, or whatever they call it now, and TikTok, right? Any other things that we might want to consider? I'm going to add this one on. This is a different, ooh, that's a nice red. Maybe I'll swap. Sometimes I hate the colors because they don't show up very well, but I feel like the black's not showing up very well today. Okay, your newsletter is that we're going to talk about things. So let's jump over here to the slides and get through these really quick, and then we'll we'll bounce back to, oh yeah. Oh, yay. Okay. Oh, no worries. You're welcome. See ya. I think you've been to this one before. Yeah. And we didn't talk about the branding before. Oh, good. Okay. All right. So we're going to talk about the 10-5-1 engagement system, posting practice, social media strategies, recap, and ahas. The first thing Gary Carroll says is it takes time to learn something, more time to implement it, and even longer to approach a mastery of it. So remember, this is a long game. It takes us a while to get there, but we'll get there. 10-5-1. Okay. So this is something that I do in my business. Actually, jump one more slide. Okay, so I go on to my, all of these things are all about algorithms, right? Now, so for Facebook, what I like to do is I go on, and I always mess this up in the name of that we call it here at KW, but essentially it's like our alphabetical, like our clients and our database A through Z. And we take like A, B, C, D or something is like week 1, or ABs or week 1. Week 2 is CD. Week 3 is, and we cycle back, right? So every week, whatever week I'm on the letters, I go into my friends and I like a bunch of posts from people with those last names. Okay. And not just, I also take this a step further and I go into my texts and I start there. And I'm like, okay, this week is A's and B's. I'm just going to send a text and be like, hey, how are you doing today? Haven't talked to you in a while. I am not talking about real estate at all. I am just, how are things going? They then respond. I create some conversations, and eventually it circles back to real estate, right? And they might ask me, well, how's the market? Or, I've been meaning to call you. That's the best. That's the best, is when they say that. So go on, you do 10 likes or loves. You're going to do 5 comments and 1 share or direct message. So 10 likes, 5 comments, 1 share. That's like a minimum daily thing to do. Go on your Facebook, go on Instagram, whatever one you're using. And then also text your friends. And you're like, well, why do I need to text my friends? Because our sphere is the most powerful part of our database. Remember how we talked about know, like, and trust? They already know, like, and trust you. They might not trust you to sell them a house yet, but they trust you as a person. And if you consistently show up to your friends and family that this is what you're doing and this is what, this is your life now, that trust part of the real estate will come, right? So, and again, we're not reaching out to family to sell them today. We're just reaching out, hey, I haven't talked to you in a while. Now they're going to say, oh, it's so good to hear from you. What's going on? Oh, not much. And then they say, what's going on with you? Let them talk. And then they're like, well, what are you up to now? Oh, I recently got my real estate license. Okay. You don't have to make a big announcement. You can just start texting your friends and family. And eventually it'll come around because it does, right? People, if you're interested in them, more than likely they're interested in you. They want to know about your life too. And you just keep that authentic conversation going. You are really just being a good friend. It's like a backdoor approach, right? And then someday it'll circle back because then like once you cycle through all those letters and you come back around 6 months later or quarterly or whenever it is, then you're like, oh, hey, I haven't talked to you in the last 6 months. What's going on? Again. Okay, we cycle through. Okay, so any ahas up to this point that we want to mention? Okay. Posting practice. 80% of it needs to be personal, 20% of it needs to be about your business. So this is just the 80-20 rule. People on your personal pages do not want to be bombarded with business posts all day, every day, right? They want to know about you. That's why they're following you. That's why they're your friends on Facebook. So if you can keep it mostly about personal stuff, or ways to engage, asking, I see some people in the groups or Facebook will have like a question to like spark engagement with their friends, right? Maybe that's something that you do and it's a personal thing and you're not actually doing business, but then throw in a business post. Now, if it is a business page that's completely business, then obviously you're going to want to do more business, right? But for me and my Instagram, on my business Instagram, mine is more about, okay, what's my content plan and how am I breaking that up weekly? Because you got to be consistent on that. And then all the personal stuff, for the most part, happens in my stories, right? Or it might happen on a Sunday where like I'm home. I love to bake. I like to cook. And so I like to bake sourdough bread. I love, Sundays are my day to like feed people. Like it's like a love language of mine, that I have no one's really bugging me on Sunday. I can prepare a full out family gourmet meal and I love to do that. So that's the day when I would maybe post, like I have done like sourdough posts on Sundays, and I even have like sourdough Sunday. So it might even just be like the bread coming out of the oven. It might have me pouring in the starter, and seeing it all mixed up or whatever. Whatever it is, whatever is for you, think about that. Okay. Personal interest posts can be about pets, art, cooking, baking, recipes, exercising or working out, outdoor adventures, live music, team sports. So people know, I think, at least I hope, that people who follow me and know me know 3 things about, well, maybe 4 things about me. Okay, maybe 5. 1, I love Paris, France. It is, it's like, I have a love affair with Paris, okay? 2, I love to cook and bake. 3, I teach hot Pilates and I'm into yoga, that kind of stuff. 4, I have a family, and so I talk about my family. And then 5, maybe those are the 4 main things. Like family, stuff, working out, travel, and cooking. So people who follow me, and it's random, like I have random people, okay, they're not really random, but friends I never talk to. But they'll reach out to me on Facebook or Instagram and send me a message. Hey, I'm going to Paris. Can you help me plan my trip? All the time. The first time I went to Paris was when I was in high school. I went with my Spanish club. We went to Paris and Madrid. And then I went back when I was in college for study abroad. And then when I was a teacher, I used to take student groups and do that. I was one of those teachers who would get groups and we'd go to Europe. And then when I quit teaching, I then planned like adult group private tours, and we do that. So yeah, everyone knows that I love Paris. Okay, real estate business posts. You can talk about listings, open houses, awards, speaking events. Someone the other day is like, well, what if I don't have any listings? Or what if I don't have any houses to highlight? Okay, there are so many agents in our office. I was just one yesterday who posted on the opportunities page, hey, I have 2 listings. If you want to go and tour it and make a video and put it on your social media, do it. Like we need to get as much exposure, and it really truly is helping out the people in our offices. Now, you can't just randomly go and do that. You actually have to ask permission first, but I basically gave everyone permission yesterday. Go do this. Or if you're hosting an open house, that's another great way for you to, people don't need to know that it's not, I mean, they will know it's not your listing because you're going to have it in small print, but they're just going to see that you're out there working. It doesn't matter if you sold it or not. You are out there doing. And when they see that you're doing, even if you haven't sold anything yet, you're now showing, hey, this is me, this is who I am, this is my business. And that credibility continues to, you continue to gain credibility. 10% is community service. Okay, so we have different events through the year with KW Cares that you can be involved in. And those are great times to get involved and post about the community service that we do in our office. Or if you do something on your own time that you have like a cause that's really special to you, important to you, then post about that every once in a while, right? So KW Cares has a big Christmas thing coming up soon. And so start posting about it, because people love to see your friends and family, but they love to see this kind of thing. This is showing, hey, I mean, we're not doing it to, what is the word? Like when people would wear their masks just to show that they were like wearing their mask. Yes, thank you. That's the right word. We're not doing it to virtue signal, because we are like genuinely wanting to help people. But, when you put that in, do people then, it's that goes back to that know, like, and trust thing, hey, these guys are doing good things, not just out there to make money. We're out there to help people. And really, real estate, yes, the end result you can make a lot of money, but when you also take the money out of the picture, and maybe that is part of D'Angelo's question, is removing the money and thinking more about the person and caring more about them and meeting their goals, then you're more authentic, and people like that about you, right? It's not about the money, it's about the person. Okay. Social media strategies. So you want to connect with people who you have met in one way, shape, or form. So, just adding more friends to your database on your social media channels is important. Post about your neighborhood. Oh, another thing that you could do is, as a new agent, is you could say, okay, I don't know, let's just say Mondays. Mondays are, I'm going to go tour houses and put it on my social media. So you call houses that might be in the area that you want to farm. So I don't know where you live. If you're in like Provo or whatever, I want to be in, not just Provo, but like Indian Hills, Provo. Okay. I want to farm that area, or Grandview area. Okay. So I'm going to say, I'm going to look up homes that are listed in those specific areas that I want to farm. Or for me, I live in Saratoga, so I don't do this as much anymore because I have my own listings and stuff to do, right? Or I'm out showing homes with my clients. You do have to be very careful about what you show when you're videoing. If it's general things and it's like not, there's no specific addresses or personal or streets or no personal pictures or anything, then you're fine. But I do think it's best before you go show a house and then you ask, hey, is it okay if we take some video, and is it okay if I post it on my social media? Always best to ask and get permission to do that, because you don't want to be fined, because you can get in trouble. And then another thing that you do want to be careful about, if you are doing any video tours and you have asked permission, you do want to come from it from a positive angle. I know a specific agent who used to go, I mean, they're actually kind of fun posts, but he got in trouble and got fined because somebody ended up turning him in, because as an agent, he would go into these old houses like in the Sandy area, and they were like fixer-uppers, and he would like critique the fixers-uppers. And they were funny, but it didn't go over well with the DRE. So, okay, congratulate new homeowners, use images, post about listings. So it's about education. You can start educating people on the process, right? Like, yeah, engaging, all these things. All right, you want to think about hyper-local information. Where exactly are you going to farm? What areas do you want to sell? Yes, I can help clients from, well, all over the state if I wanted to, right? It's really hard to do that. And I have had a listing up in Clarkston and one down in, I think I actually had a buyer looking in St. George at that time. That was insanity. Like, don't do that. Don't do that. Most of the time, though, my area that I mostly work is northern Utah County and southern Salt Lake County. So my husband grew up in South Jordan, so we're very familiar with, South Jordan, Riverton, Harriman, Bluffdale, and Sandy areas, Johnny Drapers. Like, that is kind of where I do most of my business. And mostly, like, I just attract people from those areas too. And then northern Utah County, I live in Saratoga, so Lehigh, Eagle Mountain, Saratoga, Alpine, Pleasant Grove. And I kind of go down to like Orem. I don't really do much real estate beyond that, like above or below. Occasionally there's an outlier, but not that often, because a lot of my efforts are focused in those areas. When we started our branch in Eagle Mountain, it was like, we want to be the Eagle Mountain people. Eagle Mountain, Saratoga. Because we live there, and you guys, you get to this point and you're like, I don't want to drive over there anymore to go do business. I just want to do it right here, So there is something to really focusing in on this hyper local market. Where exactly do you want to work? Who's the person? There's this one lady, I'm trying to think of her name right now. I'm blanking right now, but I know that she is the Pepperwood expert, not exit, expert. So she has most of the listings in Pepperwood. So if I ever know I have a client who's looking in Pepperwood, who am I going to call? I'm going to call her. I want to find out, hey, I see all these listings. Do you have any others coming up soon? Because she probably does. She has so many in that area, right? Utilize tech developments, post client testimonials. All of these are really good, and you can do that in your stories or actual posts. You want to create engagement. So the biggest thing here, takeaway, is don't post and ghost. So if you're going to post something, you want to be active on social media, on whatever channel you're on, and posting for about at least 15 to 20 minutes, maybe half an hour. So if anybody comments or likes within that first little bit, you're commenting and liking too. And something I learned a long time ago, and gosh, the algorithms are constantly changing, so who knows, but I still do it, is don't comment with like just an emoji or like thanks. It needs to be like an actual you're actually responding to somebody, not like, thanks so much, I really appreciate you. Or thanks, yeah, this was really fun to sell, I don't know. Or, you've got to have, I think it's like 4 words or more in your response. You can have emojis, but that shouldn't be your main thing. Like, it shouldn't be like a 1-word thing, because think about it, Instagram wants you to engage. So they not only want your clients, they're the people who are following you to engage, they want you to engage back. This is supposed to be like a community of engagement, right? So any things that we can do to help boost engagement, this is a big one. Don't post and go. So stay or if you see a comment come up anytime, like, try to get to it as soon as possible. Participate in online communities. So getting into the different forums and participating, being one of the top people in the group, who's communicating and offering, value there. Again, don't post and ghost, add value, highlight your business. On social media, you want to be authentic. You don't want to be a jack of all trades. Embrace the video, okay? Reels are really important, but it's not just the reels. For Instagram, you also want to do the carousels and the static posts. So carousels are a great way to get engagement, because it actually makes people like put in more time and they have to do something, right? So Instagram likes that. They just changed recently. It used to be you could only do 10 photos. I think you can do 20. Seems a little excessive, but maybe for a listing, it's great because you can put in 20 pictures. Use the analytics to optimize your posts. So if you don't have a professional dashboard, you do want to change your personal account to be more of like a creator type account, creator influencer type account. That for 2 reasons. One, it unlocks the analytics and gives you the professional dashboard, so you can see and track which posts are getting the most engagement. And then you can, okay, this didn't work at all. This didn't work. This didn't work. Oh, this really works. Now let's do more of that, It also gives you the full music bank, which is cool. And then once you get so many followers, it unlocks new things. I haven't gotten that far. But I don't really have that, in my opinion. I don't have that many followers, and I still get quite a bit of engagement on my Instagram. So, and it's interesting when it pulls up on the dashboard, it'll show me like how much percentage of, okay, so like consistently since August, I've had like, I don't know, close to 40,000 engagement views, like consistently daily. So it'll show a graph and it will say how much of this is from people who are my friends and how much are people who are not my friends. And I think my pie now is like these people who know me, these people who don't know me, which is great. Ask for help if you need it. Okay, so 10 likes, 5 comments, 1 post share or DM, percent personal, 20% business. Try to go above and beyond, add in some customer service or community service. Don't post and ghost, and think about what kind of value that you can add in the post that you create. Okay. Okay, so we're done with that part. So let's talk about a couple other things then with creating engagement and back over here. The number one thing that if you haven't started, you want to start a newsletter, even if that's going out once a month. The reason why is if any of these channels go down, or if any of those channels get hijacked, what happens to your whole database? You lose it. So all of these channels are to help you build your newsletter, and that's something you can control. So this is to help you get to here. So what kind of freebie offer can you make on these channels consistently to get people to click so that you can get their information to put them on your newsletter? Okay, this should be at minimum monthly. And then if you want to go more, you get to the bi or the weekly or multiple times a week, right? I have a person that I follow. She posts 2 times a week. Sundays is kind of like a story time for her where it's more like, it's very like personal stuff, like lessons she learned kind of thing in her life that she posts. I actually really enjoy, that's my favorite, is Sunday story time. You know, and it has nothing really to do with her business. It's just things that she's going through in her life. And, you know, I love that day. Then Thursdays, she sends out a new one that relates to her podcast that she's putting out, or another offer or something she's selling. That kind of, she always has it in like a story form too. And then there's like links within to like get people motivated to, you know, buy the offer. There's, okay, so back here, you can't do it all at once. Okay, so pick the one channel pick the one that is going to be the best for you, right? For me, I do most of my marketing on Instagram, but Instagram kind of syncs with Facebook, right? So I would say these two. Yeah, exactly. Right. So if it were me, I would start here. I have another friend who is a big TikToker, actually Becca Summers. She's on TikTok a lot. And then she also is on Instagram too. And I think she just saves her videos she makes on TikTok and then puts here. Now you don't want to save the TikTok that's got the TikTok. You want to, I think you can, the watermark. You don't want the TikTok watermark showing up on the reel because the algorithm doesn't like that. They want you to create on theirs. So, but there's ways to do it. I think you make the video in TikTok before you post, you save it, video, and then you can upload it to your reel. She likes to make her videos on TikTok because there's like a face corrector on TikTok. And so it I know. But it like takes out blemishes or whatever. And it still, she looks like her. It's just, I don't know, the best version of her, yeah. Like I would never have known on Instagram that she had done it on TikTok first. Okay, so these other channels, I use YouTube as well. And then another thing that I do, I didn't put this on here, is I have a podcast. And so for my podcast, I use that as like a free, and it's a way for me to, and you don't have to jump to a podcast, as you know, that's crazy talk. I think you could actually do short form videos instead of a podcast. That's what Becca does. And she's pretty successful with that. Upstairs on the 2nd floor, we have 2 rooms. One of them is a podcast room and the other one is like where you can do short form videos. And there's like a camera and lights set up in there. And so you just have to sign up and use those rooms. You can do that. I don't know if you do that through Amanda at the front desk, or Hunter would be your person to talk to. So if you're like, oh, I want to I want to film a bunch of short form videos and I'm going to do it in there, do it. Or if you're like, I want to, anywhere in the office, I think is a good idea to do, like upstairs where those nice couches are right across from the podcast rooms. That would be a great place to like maybe film some things. I've seen people do it in front of the wall where it says right across from Shoney, or what does it say? Thrive or something. Whatever it says on that wall right there, I'm blanking. Or there's a few other walls in the office that could be nice backdrops. So you can utilize our space to do some of your videos. For me, YouTube, when I film the podcast, and I haven't actually uploaded them yet to YouTube, but that is my intention. And it's the next thing on my, and you also want a website. And, we also have that, right? So for the website, you could utilize some of the freebie ideas or, posting from your IDX homes that are for sale. And you don't need to get permission from that because it comes from the IDX where people have already given permission for you to share the listing. So that's an easy one where you could go on your website, search up homes in wherever, for me, Saratoga. Okay, search up homes in Saratoga and you're like, oh, I'm going to highlight this listing of the week. Actually, Susie Clyde, who is the #1 agent, solo agent, she does that pretty often. Other people's listings, not her own. And she highlights a listing of the week that's not her own listing. So you can do that on yours, but as long as you got it from the IDX, right? So you would share the link to your website. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? So you go to the search, find the listing, and then copy the link. And then when you post it, it pops up as the listing. Cynthia. Okay, so YouTube is a great way. So for me, my podcast, I just need to go and upload them all. And then from there, I'm going to link them to my website because I can embed the YouTube link from that to that. That's just something on my step. So see, I've been doing mostly this, then I added on this, and now I'm doing this and this. But then eventually I plan to add on the other things. Now, when I add on, I'm not creating new content. I'm just the stuff that I did for this, I'm just reposting it in other places, right? So let's talk about if we're going to do content for your plan, your marketing plan. Okay, you want to, these are called content pillars. Okay. So for me personally, well, you do want 5 content pillars. Okay, so this is the goal, is to post at least 5 times a week, 1 time a day. Now, if that's too much for you, don't be like, yes, I'm going to do it, but then I don't have time to do it. Commit to 1 or 2 times a week, right? And then when you can, add on. But I think it really does help if you have the plan in place, right? So the content pillars are going to be the 5 areas or subjects that I'm going to post about during the week. Okay. So for me, I do Monday market. So this is like a market update. Wednesday, I do something educational. I'm teaching something. This one is podcast. So this is my new episode day. Friday is a Friday fun day. So usually that's like a meme. And then Tuesday is some kind of other video. Okay, so actually right now I'm on a little break from the podcast. I'm not going to start back up until January. So the last couple weeks, we haven't been posting these. Probably we'll be doing some like repeat ones of old episodes here in a minute. But like because I'm on a break from the podcast, I thought, oh, I'll do like a whole listing series, educating short videos, educating people on my listing system, right? So I might do that for a little bit here. And then this one is either like another clip from the podcast or another video. So this is a video of something related to buying and selling. Or quote, old podcast, anything buy sell related. This one, we do a carousel. This one I think is a carousel too, and then the videos. Now, this is like my everyday stuff. What if I have a new listing or something? Then I post on top of this. So that's like crazy town. So this is going to be consistent no matter what. But if I have a new listing, then I have kind of like a social media listing launch plan. And I will post 5 days about the listing. And then after that, if it's still available and we're not under contract, then I might like highlight it once a week throughout the week. But that's in addition to this. I had to do that. Like I actually got really, so I got really good at doing the consistency. So you could do this different, you know. Well, back to that idea with the consistency. I got really stressed out because I had like a bunch of listings all at once, and I was worried because I didn't know where to put it here. And then my mentor coach, she's like, it's okay, like just post more. I was like, oh, okay. Because really, truly, the more you're posting, the more you're engaging, the more you're, you know, whatever. Right. Right. So for me, for you, you could say, okay, maybe I want to do a market day. Maybe I want to do this would be only about buyers. Maybe this day I do a listing or what would I call that? What Susie calls hers listing of the week, right? And then you could do sellers here and like something funny there. So on this funny meme thing, this is like something trending. You don't have to be dancer every day, right? You only have to do that on Friday. You only have to do that on Friday. And then Saturday and Sunday, I kind of leave up to whatever. If something's like maybe I do have open houses that day, I might post, hey, don't forget open houses today, ding, 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 you know, or Sundays, it would be like my personal day, but I don't consistently do Saturday or Sunday. I consistently do this, right? But if I want to add in the sourdough, I could on Sunday, or if I want to add in whatever I could on those days. Then in the stories, well, you're sharing your life. Do you have to share all of your life? No, you do not, right? But I share the things that are related to me as a person, as a salesperson. Sometimes I do family things like, oh, we're going hiking today. Or when we were in Europe, we showed a lot there. When my daughter was on a dance team, sometimes I'd, you know, show a little clip of that. But I don't really do as much posts of my kids on this page. Every once in a while, they pop up in my stories. Stories, share every day. Now, I know it's scary to video yourself, and trust me, I know, but just record, hit send, and walk away. Which goes against the idea of, don't post and ghost. But I really, you gotta just like forget about it, because people truly do not care. You care more about yourself and what you just said than what they care. They are just like, oh, that's cool. She just posted, like they think it's cool. And you're over here like, oh, I don't know, that didn't sound good. So when I used to start video, and I would delete and record, delete and record, delete and record a bajillion times. And I was like, you know what? I can't do that all day, every day. I'm not going to do that. So this, I think, can be consistent. You can come up with this idea, the content pillars, in all of the things that you do, whether on Instagram or any of the channels. You can implement that. Facebook, the ads and all the things. Are you guys familiar with that, and how they taught you how to do it, like on Facebook? Or you can do it through command too. So there's a placing command. I have a different, well, I guess I don't need to delete this right now. But is there anything else you want to know?
How long did it take you? So I just looked up your Instagram.
Oh.
And I just followed you.
Oh, thanks.
How long?
Oh, well, because I'm old, it took me quite a while, It wasn't that long, actually. I think I actually had 1,000, 12 or 1,300 like right away, because it was like just people who just knew me. And I was already people following me on my personal one. And I was like, hey, if you want to follow me on my business, like follow me here. And I just put that link in there. And then on that personal, I just keep that private. And that's just where I like keep like my scrapbook stuff for my family posts and things like that. I am never in my stories over there. It's strictly for chat books, but like people who really want to follow me and like whatever, then they follow me on my business one. So I think I had like 12 or 13 there. And then it actually has taken me a really long time just to build to where I currently have, which it's not even 2,000, like 1,800, I think 17 something, which is not very many. But like I said, I'm starting to get more traction with that. But it doesn't matter really, because it's like the people who followed me from the original, like, remember, it's not about the quantity of the followers, it is of the quality of the followers, right? So most of the people who follow me in that like know me. And so for me, it's just a way to stay top of mind with my sphere. And then as I continually get new people, I probably get, it's not even that many, like 4 or 5 a week. So yes, do I want more followers? Yeah, because I want to unlock some things. Like I need 10,000 followers. But, say that way.
Well, I see a lot of work, right? What percentage of your business comes from this?
That's a really hard thing to track. Because most of my business is sphere. I'm like 90%. So I guess you could say all, besides 10% maybe, comes from that. Like I don't do much else. I used to send out postcards, and I don't do that anymore. I haven't done that for probably 18 months. I'll send them out for like new listings and things, but I don't like, I used to do, because I replaced that with the newsletter now. So I used to send out like a postcard monthly that would have something on the front, and then on the back side, it would have like a bunch of listings that I would highlight. Most of them would be like, I would try to put my listings on first, and then, or if I had some that were under contract, I would like kind of show like active, under contract, sold, and then it was a good way for people to see my activity and also what was going on in their areas of town, kind of thing. Does that make sense? So I used to do that. And then I do pay for leads, and that's why but that's just a very small portion of my business. I realized a couple years ago, Ben and I were talking, we're like, okay, we've reached to where we do, I don't know, like around 35 deals a year. So if we do that, and it's all from our sphere, past business, referrals, if we want to do more than that, we kind of felt like our database, like that was what we were getting consistently. So in order to increase that number from 35 to 50 or 60 or whatever it is we want for that year, we felt like we needed to find new people that we could add to our database. And so that's when we decided to get into, paying for ads and doing that kind of stuff. But I'll say the amount of people that we have in our database is probably 350. And that gives me about 35 deals a year. And all of those people follow me. And the people who I came, they may not have, like a lot of those deals also, like from my 1,700 followers, some of those deals that came were people who follow me there, but referred me. Does that make sense? It's also, I didn't use this before, but I've started using it now. I actually, there was a post in like one of the community Facebook groups, and I had just done an educational post on the market and like on the growth that Utah will see in the next few years that's another thing. That's where I get this from. So I do this two things. A lot of it is like educating people on the market is what I'm doing. So this is a market update just to show, this is how many listings we have. This is how many closed, blah, blah, blah. But this one is like, I take things from Johnny's quarterly reports. So every quarter, he does a whole market update where he goes over like the economy. And then, so nationwide, and then they narrow it down to Utah and show us, what's going on here? How does it affect Utah, and where is Utah? And so then then the Gardner Institute puts out one 2 times semi-annually. And that's with the Board of Realtors. So Dan Eskich, so I also have a master's of real estate development from the University of Utah. I just barely graduated in that. Thanks. And Dan Eskich is the head economist for the Salt Lake Board of Realtors, but he's also works for the Chem Gardner Institute and for the Ivory Innovations at the University of Utah. And so like his job, like that's what he does, is like analyze the economy every day, and I'm like, but but he's so good at it, and he's like brilliant. And so he puts out a semi-annual report, and he presents that at a couple different places. One of the places that he does it is at the Salt Lake Board. And then I think he's done it. Another one of my friends does this Taco Tuesday kind of mastermind thing, and he's come to that and presented there. So I kind of just like follow to see like where Dion's going to be, and then I go watch his presentation. But he also has slides, and I think they're available on the Chem Gardner Institute's page somewhere. So I take that information and then I like regurgitate it and to slice it up and, put that out. And then, so we had done a whole series of that where I was getting with that. Somebody asked about something, and then I linked my Instagram post that had all the information about it to that Instagram. And then like, and that was cool. Cause then I had a new follower, one, and they now looked at me as not just your, I don't know, your average agent, but I'm like providing real information, real data, I just think it's important that it's our responsibility to know what's going on in the economy in Utah and how that affects the housing market. And so I decided I'm just to do that here.
This kind of, ads or stuff like that in social media?
Yeah, so we spend about $1,500 a month in ads.
Because that can be crazy too. You can spend a lot of money. So
Yeah, with the ads, remember the ads, the leads that come in from internet leads, take a lot longer to convert. So we have them in a long drip plan, so smart plan, where we're dropping little bits of information to them for months. So I don't expect with the internet leads, yet sometimes there's low hanging fruit that we can immediately pick up and, help. But with the internet leads, I look at those as a long-term marketing plan and goal to get somebody into my system. Yeah. The where you're going to find the quickest results is within your sphere and the referrals from your sphere, which I know is scary, but if you can start even just, coming up with your weekly plan, what do I want that to look like? And the weekly plan, because it's consistent, like you could even plan it out months in advance, but the only thing you really have to do current might be your Friday because it's trending, right? Trending audio, trending meme, trending whatever. Like we're doing a Wicked event in a couple weeks on the 2nd, 3rd. And so because the Wicked just came out 2 days ago, like my meme today is going to be about Wicked. And it's funny, like the Wicked and my podcasts are the ones that are like boosting since I started the podcast in August, that is where I went from an average of like 2,000 to 5,000 views to 40,000 views in 30 days. But then I've stayed consistent in these other, it's not just that, right? But then I was staying consistent in these other areas to where people who might have signed up or, started following me, now they're staying following me because I'm continuing to drop info. But I'm not one of those agents who's going to do pony dance for you. And there's a lot of them who do, and they have a lot of followers, but then you wonder, like,
they will trust you.
yeah, well, I'm wondering, like, are they really selling a lot of real estate, or are they just now influencers?
I mean, they are making money.
They are. I know. So, what's the emphasis now? Is it more on influencing or is it more on selling real estate? I don't know. But I will tell you, like, and when I first got started in real estate, it was very, very hard for me to reach out to the sphere. And I did not like making the calls. And so therefore, I turned to social media. And then I do the approach of just sparking up conversations with everyone in my phone every few months. Every one of my contacts that are not other agents, right? I'm talking about like the people who I can get business from. And I'm not pitching anything, or I'm not pitching anything, but sometimes I'm inviting them to something. So you also have to look at how much can you give to your sphere to create these opportunities. We have opportunities within the office. I know it's pricey sometimes to, get tickets to the Corn Belly or to the, not Corn Bellies, to the Pumpkin Patch, or get tickets to the Splash. We do this big summer splash event at Splash Summit in June. And that 2 things I do a year, it is Splash Summit and I do a movie night. And it costs me a lot of money, way less money to do the Splash event than the movie night. But even if I didn't do a movie night, Splash Summit, because you're getting their families out, you're getting everyone out. And so I buy like, how many tickets did we buy last year? Like 300 tickets. And I think it was like $6 a head. So it was like $1,800 I spent that month on that event. And that is like a touch point with all those people, and it's like me giving. And so when I give, hopefully someday and we have to have the expectation that it may never happen, and that's okay. Like, it's coming from the heart. I truly want to give and be friends with these people and connect. And sometimes it does suck. Like, there's this one lady on Facebook. Actually, our sons played football together for years, and every time somebody would mention on the community Facebook page, who should I call for a realtor? Every time she called me, or she would put my name and tag me. So every time she did that, I would send out a little swig card in the mail, a little $5 drink, or Starbucks or whatever. I'd send the little thank you so much for the shout out on Facebook. I really appreciate you. You know, boom, boom, boom. And guess what? She just sold her house and she didn't call me.
What?
I was like, what happened there? So whatever. But does that mean I'm going to stop? No, I'm going to keep. I just invited him to our Wicked event. You know, I know that they will use another agent. I know they sold their house. And that agent probably helped him buy a new house. I probably won't have an opportunity to help them specifically for another 5 to 10 years. But maybe I'd have an opportunity to sell to one of their kids, or maybe I have an opportunity for them to refer me to a friend, something like that, you know? So I'm going to keep them in that database because they're still what we call sneezers, you know, dropping my name in conversations. That was so random. Like, I'm like,
It was like
it could have been. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm letting it go. But so anyway, that happened. But I have had other clients who I helped them. I helped their grandma. I helped 1, 2, 3 of the kids. And now I'm helping the kids again, one of the kids. So you never know in that database where it's going to come from. But I would say majority of my business, it's hard to track because I don't have any like methods of tracking the conversion, but I do know who follows me. I know you can see like even who's liking in your professional dashboard, you can see like who liked your stories. You can see all of it. Yeah. And then who's showing up to the event. So I think it's like a combination of everything. Is it your only tool? No, but this is a way to keep top of mind. And it's a way to, like we talked about, the know, like, and trust, right? It's a way to help people get to know you, educate them on you. The trust comes from, I think, your credibility, right? Credibility comes not just from the sales experience, how many sales are under my belt, but the type of education that you're providing. I think that's a great way to build credibility. It's to show your knowledge, your expertise. So, yeah. Anything else? Yeah.
So I'm in my 20s, so
Okay.
a lot of my SOI is.
Yeah.
So how do you recommend like making connections and relationships with people who are older, who are?
Wait a minute. You told me you have old friends. I'm kidding. I'm
They
just
live
kidding.
in Oregon.
Oh, okay. Is your family from Oregon?
No, my family's from California, but we were in California and then they ended up.
Okay.
So
So do you have anyone here locally that family?
Friend?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I have some like people who are ready or like more in that time of their life to buy real estate or to sell or whatever. But like I want to increase that. Like what would you recommend that I would
Farming an area is what I would do. I'd do that before I'd pay for leads.
Okay.
I have a friend who I actually think she has quite a large sphere, but she farmed an area and I know she farmed, Kiowa Valley area in Eagle Mountain, and then she added on like a townhome community as part of that. And every month she would drop by some kind of item of value. And from that, it took a while. I think it took her 6 months. And then she had 8 to 10 deals from that. Yeah,
You know, like 6 months to take care of your year is not.
I know. It was an awesome year for her. For a new agent, I think it took her 8 to 10 months. And she had closed, I think she closed 11 deals. Her first year. And it took 6 months to get those deals, and then she closed them all.
Years as an agent.
I would say full-time 8.
So in those years, do you think, well, in your experience, every year has been better?
Yeah, so I would even say, okay, here's another part of our story. So my husband, we own a construction company, and he used to travel and build churches all over the United States. In 2015, things were starting to pick up for me, right? In real estate in 2013, 14. I wasn't doing a ton, but I was doing like, I don't know, probably 60 to 80,000 in gross GCI a year. And I was like, hey, things are going pretty good here. Like, this is crazy. Why don't you quit the construction company and come home? And why don't you sell real estate? Because he had his license too in 2004, and he had it for a long time, but then he let it expire. And we just used it for like investments, buying our own homes, things like that. And so he's like, okay. And we literally handed our contracts to his uncle, who also had the same business, a similar business, gave them to him. Hey, do you want our jobs? Yeah, we'll take them. Okay. And he came home, and he got a job with Woodside Homes, and he sold a community in Saratoga Springs. So he was doing really well. And the first year, I think he made like, I don't know, over 100. The next year was like 180. And then the next year it was like high 2s. And then I think he made like 300 the last year he was there, over 3. And, or maybe it was sooner than that. I don't know. So about that time, his community was wrapping up. And he's like, I don't know where they're going to send me. And when they do send me to this next community, like, I don't know how long it will take before, because with construction, you don't get paid until the homes are built, So he had a really big pipeline, but once all those are closed, like, where are they going to send me, and how long will it take for me to get that pipeline, and how long before we actually start making money again? And so we were kind of stressed about that. And I had been doing just a few deals here and there. I'd quit teaching. I was home. I was probably doing 8 to 10 deals consistently. So he quit Woodside Homes, and he actually went to work for another builder for a short period. And then we decided after that, when he went over there, we're like, nah, never mind. Let's just partner up. That was in 2019. And he said, and he's like, Court, well, when he went to the other builder, he's like, Court, if we want to keep living at the same lifestyle now that we've, gotten with all this business, like, you're going to have to, because the new builder, he was going to take a pay cut. It was like $100,000 pay cut. And he's like, so you're going to have to make up the difference. I was like, okay. So then 3 months goes by and he quits that. And now it's like, crap, we have to make up 3 times the amount. So our first year, well, we haven't made less than that since we partnered up.
That's good.
And every year we get more and more. So it's been great. This is actually one of our best years, it being a hard year. But we have, it's like good to great. If you read that book where you have the big, I'm going to mess up the analogy. The flywheel, the ball, we're pushing the ball up the mountain, and we've been doing that for years, until all of a sudden it's like, and it goes, right? the flywheel concept. Yeah, so, but I think it's easy to get, it's not easy. It's not easy. But I think it's possible to get there in the first year to get at least to that 10 deals. I think farming an area is a great way to do it. But you'd be surprised how many of your friends, like when they're finishing college, they're getting their first jobs and they need a house. You can be their person.
I mean, I know there's several people that are my age that have bought,
Yeah.
you know, like whether it's like a condo or a townhome or something
Yeah,
like that.
right.
So like there's, I have people, you know, but
Yeah.
I just
want to increase.
Yeah.
Mhm. And then also like tapping into, so like my niece and her husband are both in real estate and they both grew up here. Like one grew up in Provo, one grew up in Riverton. Well, they grew up in their neighborhood their whole life. Like their parents never moved. Well, how many people do you know in that neighborhood? Especially if you're active in your neighborhood, community, and church. A lot, you know? So that's another thing too, is like accessing the people within your, wherever you go, like at your church, at your, yeah, not just your friends and family, but like people within that sphere, that realm. You can start. So when something that I did in my neighborhood where we were living at the time and I was getting started, I was discounting for my friends at the beginning. I was a new agent and, we always tout like our value, but sometimes it's hard to really know your value until after you've had a few sales under your belt, so I don't think it's a bad thing to say, hey, I want to use this. And I use it as a marketing strategy too. It was like, okay, I'm going to do some cheaper listings just to try to get signs in my neighborhood. And I did that. And then I didn't have to discount later because now I had 4 signs in my neighborhood with my picture and my name on it, that my neighbors were driving past every day saying, oh, Courtney has this listing and the so-and-so's listed with her. So, so that was nice because I had that ability to do that. And I think that did help me. So most of my business, I would say, yeah, like around 90%, 85 to 90% is from our spheres, past clients, referrals. And then the other part is like what do we call them? Have not, or let's see, not mets, or I don't know them. So I have to find new people in other ways. So I would look at, you have the MREA, right? So in the MREA, there's a whole section on like, I don't think it's called farming, but it's the 8x8 plan. Look that up. The 8x8 plan is basically a farming strategy. So you have like for 8 weeks, you're dripping something to them every week. And then after that, you drip something to them once a month. And so the concept, the idea is, the way I look at the 8x8 plan is if you're knocking doors too, that's another great way to do it. If you're knocking doors, the goal is twofold. One, if there's a whole low hanging fruit, I want to be their person. But most of the time, it's not going to be that. That's like a low chance, right? There's a low hanging fruit. But the other thing is to get them into my database so that I can send them to the newsletter. So my goal is to get them on my newsletter and to be their local resource. Like I'm not asking them to sell their home today. I'm just saying, hey, do you have an agent who's sending you, local information to keep you up to date on the market? Have you had a market analysis done on your home recently? Because it's important whether you're thinking to sell or not to know what equity you have, like we should all know where we're at in our wealth, because things can happen, maybe death, divorce, disability, job loss, so many things can happen that changes in a person's life where all of a sudden they need to sell their house, or they need to sell and buy something different or whatever. Or not in the scary, sad things, but oh, we had another baby, or we had, it's like, we just don't know what's going on in people's lives. So I think it's so important. So if you can come at it from that angle, if it's not about selling your house today, but I just want to be that person in your life that can provide you that information. Is that something you would be interested in? Get them on your newsletter, then you're dripping that information, and then have there in the 8x8, there's like a planner. It tells you like things that you can do. So for those first 8 weeks, you're kind of hitting them hard, but it doesn't have to be like crazy hard. Meaning, number one, I can put them in my newsletter. Number two, they're going to get a welcome email from me. Number three, they're going to, I'm going to drop by, or mail out or something, or it could be another email. Maybe you have an 8 email welcome, thing. You sign up for things online, right? Occasionally, where all of a sudden you're on somebody's newsletter and you get a bajillion emails for the first month. Right. But you don't have to you don't have to do it daily, because a lot of times with those, they send out like 1 or 2 a day for like 10 days. And then it's like weekly, and then it drops off. There's usually some kind of plan that they have. But anyway, it could be something like that. It could be, oh, I'm going to drop by a recipe card with a cookie, or I'm going to drive.
Something. Well, I'm not part of
Oh, okay.
I'm passing my license here,
Oh, awesome.
but I just have like 4 months that I get my license. But talking with Sean, he said that there is something in the website that you can, for example, if you want to do this every week, you can just automatically put it there, and the website will do it for you, so you don't have to be working every day. Maybe you work 1 day for a week.
Right. Right. And you can schedule everything on the socials too. Like you could do it. You don't have to do everything every day. You're absolutely right. You can schedule it, do 1 day a week. Like for me, the podcasting, I do that like once or twice a month, make the videos, and then for the interviews, and then I do. I go get a blowout in the morning, and then I bring a few changes of clothes, and so my hair looks good.
Every day, and that is, you can get crazy.
You'd be totally crazy. And there's so many other things that it's exhausting, because then once you do start picking up clients, then you have the immediate needs of the clients. And so that's been the juggle for me. Yeah, it's a good problem to have. I'm not complaining one bit, but it's a struggle, because now it's the juggling act, the balancing act. And now it's like, oh, I can't spend all day thinking about a video and recording it, like I can't do that. And it shouldn't have to take that long. It doesn't have to. In fact, the videos and things that you do that are less professional do better, like off the cuff type things. Or the B-reel. B-reel is like you're walking down a street and somebody's videoing you, or you're writing something, and it's like these background things that are like, and then you have words over the front. Like, hey, this one video of mine got so many hits, and it was the dumbest video ever. And it was like an accident too. It was kind of an accident. I was at the Parade of Homes. Oh, that's another great time to get a bunch of content of pretty things and video, is Parade of Homes. So I just put that all into, I save it on my phone, and then I share that with the person who helps me. And she has all the videos from my Parade of Homes. And really it's a bunch of B-roll, and it's like, oh, do you like this kitchen or this kitchen? Do you like, what about a pool? Or I don't know, whatever it is. But that's a great time to do it. And I did that a lot for a long time. I would use those Parade of Homes pictures and videos for years as my content, because I didn't have a lot of listings at the time. But back in the old days, we could just video whatever too. until some people made it so we can't. So. But yeah, this is a great career to get into. I love it. And you do want to do the productivity coaching. And then after that, whether you want to join a team or go solo, I do think it's a good idea to join a team probably for the first year or two of being in real estate, at least. Even though it sounds like, oh, I'm having to, I make less on each deal, but you're getting so much education and training way beyond. Exactly. And for you, that might be the avenue you want to do at your age, because you don't have a huge sphere. Oh, good. Yeah. Yeah. And that's a really great way because they're going to give you, number one, they're going to show you how a really well-oiled machine works. And they have all the systems in place, and you get to use them and you get to see, oh, this is what I do. And because in sales, it can be like this. If you don't have systems in place. But that's the great thing about KW is they teach us all those things, how to do the systems. Like I do regret not joining a team when because it took me, even when my husband and I partnered, the light bulb didn't go off for us for a while. I mean, we were like dumb luck, I guess. I mean, we were working hard. We were the hardest working people. Like when COVID happened, and for me, it was like do or die too, because I have 4 kids.
COVID was great, I think.
Yes, but the first month, no.
Yes. Yeah, the first month.
maybe the first 2 months, actually. While everybody else was freaking out about the world, I was like, crap, we have to go to work. And who do we have that we've been working with that we can help them find a house? And so we just like put our heads down and work. That's the one thing about my husband and I is that when things get going tough, and we dig down and we like go to work, and we just like make it happen because there's no other option. Like I couldn't have gone out and got a job right that moment. He didn't have his construction company. Well, he still has a construction company, but we didn't have any jobs in that pipeline going, so it's like, this is what we're doing. We have to make this work. And we have 4 kids. The time they were all 3 in high school and a little kindergartner. And then 8th, 10th, and 12th grader during COVID. So, we had mouths to feed. And so for us, it was kind of like a do or die. And so, yeah, when everybody was like, what is going on? Like, I just kept like, because I had a couple of clients who I knew needed to buy a house. And so I just was like helping them. I think April and May, when did that, was it April? March. So
March.
April and May were really hard months.
But
then everything went crazy after that. And so but we didn't know things were going to get better, in June or July or August.
For me, because I was in California, I was in
Oh.
the strictest county.
I'm sorry. That's awful.
I think it was nice, kind of.
Yeah, we were lucky to be in Utah. Like, I felt bad for all the California. Actually, I helped people who were moving from California here.
Because of
Mhm.
how that was. I moved for school, but
Yeah.
it was definitely nice.
Yeah. So, yeah. So when do you take your test?
What test?
Oh, have you taken your real estate test or no?
The license, when I took, no, I get the license at the end of July, I think.
Oh, okay. So you've been licensed for a few months.
I was September.
Okay, well, it's time to move over to KW.
Things before that, I was doing fix and flips. I still doing fix and
Oh,
flips.
cool.
So, and something realtors, it's a problem. So I said, well, I will get the
Yeah,
license
yeah,
so I can sell
yeah.
and buy my own
Smart.
houses.
Love that.
And I did that and then a lot of people was always asking me for houses, so I helped a few, so.
Good.
And then Johnny contacted me and said, hey, we want to change it. I came to a few meetings and said, yeah, I think I need to learn more and just to continue growing and having everything in place.
I think this is the best place to do that. I've been at a lot of different brokerages. I've been at many. And it wasn't until here that actually the light bulb started going on in so many different ways, like not just with the business and how to grow the business, but like how to grow the wealth to create that legacy, you know, for that I want for my family, right? And it was like for the first time, like my husband and I are mid-40s, almost we're in the on the other end of mid-40.
I'm close to that.
And, you know, I'm looking around and all these kids your age, not that you're a kid, you're an adult, but you know what I mean?
I understand. It's fine. I call like college students kids and they're like only a few years younger.
Yeah. So I'm looking at the younger generation in their 20s and these people all have rentals and I'm like, what?
Like owning rentals?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You
I
know,
don't know how they-
well, they're people in our office
Yeah, well, that's true.
have them.
Yeah.
And I was like, one guy, he's not in our office anymore. He moved up to Salt Lake, so he's out of that office now. But he had a condo, 2 condos, and a house. And I don't even think he was 25 yet when he did that. And he did it all through, you know, being a realtor. And I was like, okay, if Jordan can do it, I can do it, you know? And it truly was like what I needed that to break that barrier in my head. Like I'd always wanted to do it, but I didn't really know how to do it, you know? But like so many people here are investors because when you start making money, you got to put your money places for tax purposes. Yeah. Yeah. It's a problem. Good problem. But anyway, that was exciting. So for us, when we came over here, it's like, oh, we bought our first rental, you know, in that first year. And that was pretty cool. Going from there. So yeah, come on over. We love it here. I'm drinking the juice. I love it. You guys are great. You'll be great. I'm excited for you.